Okay, so now that we have a Queen movie, I would like more movies about classic rock bands. First of all, and this is not in a list of priorities, I would just like one in the future. First of all, let's start with a Pink Floyd movie. I don't care if it's Dark Side of the Moon, or Wish You Were Here, or The Wall. Just pick one of their albums. You cannot go wrong. Next, I'd like a Jimi Hendrix album, preferably with Michael B. Jordan. Third, I would like to see an Elton John movie. Oh wait, we're already getting that. Never mind. Fourth. 10th, I'd like to see a Who movie. Yeah, I burned through 10 of those. I totally didn't just edit that. I totally didn't. Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam, and welcome to my review for Bohemian Rhapsody. This movie was directed by Bryan Singer, the director of some of the better X-Men films, and this movie stars Rami Malek as Freddie Mercury, and if you don't know who he is, then there's a good chance you've probably never heard of Queen. Queen, at the time, were pretty much one of the best bands in the world, and their music is still being played on loop to this very day. And this movie tells Freddie's story, as well as how Queen was formed, their rise, their fall, and their final performance at Live Aid. Going into this movie, I was pumped beyond belief, because Queen is one of my favorite bands. I've listened to a majority of their music. Queen is awesome. I also love Freddie Mercury as well. The guy is just a mysterious, very charismatic figure, and the more I know about him, the more questions I have, in the best way possible. And Rami Malek does a great job in this movie. I mean, I didn't see Rami Malek on screen. I saw Freddie Mercury. He plays his character of when he's on stage, it's like he owns the world. But when he's off stage, he's flawed. He makes mistakes. He gets angry. He yells at his bandmates. I read in interviews that Freddie was an incredibly insecure and kind of quiet person off stage. And judging from Malek's performance in this movie, he pretty much nailed it. And my other big positive that I had were the music sequences. This is probably some of the better shooting and staging of rock band performances that I've probably ever seen. Just like in First Man, if you're going to watch any part of this movie, like say, I don't want to watch this whole thing, but I want to watch like a certain scene, watch the Live Aid performance because it is impressive. This movie, however, is not perfect, and my biggest problem with the movie has to do with the story. There were just certain subplots and side stories that are either glossed over or just plain forgotten about. Like, there's a scene where Freddie's girlfriend, or former girlfriend, named Mary, visits him in his house in Munich, and you see that this really mad party is taking place. You know, there's the remnants of Coke, there's beer and booze bottles everywhere, and I'm just sitting there like, when did we miss this? I don't advocate the use for drugs and alcohol or anything, but I think that if the movie chose to show the actual party and show Freddie Mercury's kind of downfall in sort of real time, then that would have made the movie a lot more interesting. Not that I don't advocate for seeing a person fail, you know, I'm not a sicko like that, but what made a movie like, say, Walk the Line interesting was that you saw Johnny Cash's rise, and when you saw his rise, you also saw the constant drip, drip, drip effect of when you know for a fact that the bottom is about to fall. And when the bottom does fall, you truly care. And when the bottom does fall out on Johnny Cash in Walk the Line, you're like, oh wow, that's harsh. But in Bohemian Rhapsody, Freddie Mercury is the most interesting character, but some of his plot points are just forgotten about entirely. Like his relationship with his father. I forgot he even had a father halfway through this. But the scene before the Live Aid concert, Freddie and his boyfriend are having tea at Freddie's mom and dad's house. And, you know, he basically comes out in front of the parents. And I was just sitting there thinking to myself, Freddie had parents? I'm not going to complain about the fact that the movie is indeed PG-13, But they do get away with a lot for PG-13, so I'm not going to complain about that. But I would have loved to see a more personal story, because showing bad stuff is not necessarily the worst thing. If it's a person that many people admire, showing their bad stuff kind of lionizes the person. Going back to Johnny Cash for a couple seconds. He cheated on his wife. He was addicted to drugs and alcohol. But I still love his music. Freddie Mercury was kind of the same thing. He was sort of addicted to drugs and alcohol, and he was gay, and he was still in the closet. And the movie didn't even bother to touch on that. They hinted at it here and there, but halfway through sometimes I was like, wow, I almost forgot about that. In the end, Bohemian Rhapsody was a great movie. I thought that a lot of the band sequences were awesome, especially the Live Aid stuff, and Rami Malek's performance definitely carried this entire movie. But like I said, the story just either started something and didn't finish it, or just forgot about it and it was never addressed again. Definitely not one of my favorite biopics, but I certainly respect it for telling Freddie Mercury's story and telling the story of Queen, if you think about it. But that's all for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please be sure to leave a like. And if you saw the movie, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Oh, and if you feel like it, tell me your favorite Queen song. For me personally, my standbys are Bohemian Rhapsody, We Are the Champions, and Don't Stop Me Now. My name is Ryan Cam, and as I'm leaving, I'm going to tell you a couple more bands I'd like to see movies made out of. I'd like an Eric Clapton movie. I'd like a Leonard Skinner movie. I'd like a Led Zeppelin movie. I would like to see a movie based off Van Morrison. I'd like a proper Beatles movie. I'd like an AC/DC movie, Creedence Clearwater Revival, Fleetwood Mac.